October the 8th, 2023. I had a few dreams toward the morning. I had posted something around that time, and when I woke up, all my social medias were burning up. False prophet, especially on TikTok. And so the first dream I saw, the Lord showed me, and I was just seated in a chair, and people were gathering around me, and they were pouring cups and buckets of this green thing that we call slime. There's actually someone who has an image of me like that with slime poured on my head on the internet. There's some woman who has dedicated her life to making the most interesting thumbnails. So I was just seated in the chair and I wasn't doing anything, and people were just walking up and accusing me of being a false prophet and pouring cups of slime. Some people had cups, so smaller receptacle, but some people had buckets, and they were coming and they were just pouring. It wasn't me, it was a bust, right? You know how you have a bust like Julius Caesar, or at the museum they have like head and shoulders. So it was a bust of myself sitting there, and people kept coming and pouring the slime on it and saying, false prophet, you're a false prophet. So that was the first dream. And the Lord was saying to me, observe this hatred. Observe this hatred, my child. You must guard against it and pray. And so you can see that the thing that I'm doing, many of you who always feel that you need to come and drop a little salt or a little pepper or a little something in the soup, if God sat you here, especially you women, you would have complete mental breakdowns. Because as women, we are not created for high levels of abuse. In fact, if anyone close to females abuses them or abuses their trust or begins to attack their personhood, females are very sensitive. And yet, you're sitting here and you're watching tens of thousands of people on a daily basis hurl the kind of abuse that they don't hurl at their boss who tells them worse things. They don't have the courage, they don't have the gumption to ever speak to anyone in their lives in person like this. But you sit here and observe it, and then you claim, oh no, we're not like that. And then in 1,000 little nitpicking ways, even the people who come here, you contribute to the larger problematic environment in which I'm doing this work. And guess what? The work is getting done despite all. So it gets done despite approval, because from the very beginning I said, it doesn't actually matter to me if you say thank you or not, if you say God bless you or not, if you agree with the prophecies or not, because the prophecies are set, because the prophecies are Yah's. Imagine if approval comes and then I begin to do a Kim Clement and I begin to sway with the people. Then God kills me. For what? For what? Prophets become corrupted. Leaders, pastors become corrupted because they listen to the cheap, mealy-mouthed praises of men. These things mean nothing, especially when you think of it at a deeper level, like any child of God should. If a nation is rejected by God, what on earth do the praises of a rejected people count for? It has no value. It is only the few that God will accept. The remnant, those are the people, the tiny kernel within a huge coconut that carry value. As long as you can see those people repenting, as long as you can see those people coming in, as long as you can see those people setting their fornication, their lies, their vaping, their drug use, their drug dependencies aside, their opiate codependencies. You see them cleaning their mouths. You see them convicted and realizing that lies are bad and that all liars really will have their place in the lake of fire. So will cowards. You see people realizing that God is not this really big sieve with huge holes, that he's actually a very tightly closed, fine mesh who will examine all of your life. And people are shocked to hear about the real God, and they're changing. If those people say, praise God for this work, first and foremost, thank God for considering us in this time to tell us the truth, and then also thank you, Celestial, for the time, for the effort, then yes, that has value. But the greater mass, you should do it this way, do it that way, it's interference. It's like someone trying to put up a canopy for you, and then you keep coming, yanking down one part of the tent. I don't think it's secure enough. I've been making tents all my life. I know how to do it. You're a nuisance. You're an interference. And so I left it. I went to sit, and God said, go back. Don't just go. Go back and tell them what I said. That those who persecuted the prophets were always themselves destroyed. Because if God sends you a rescue raft and you take a knife and puncture it, then when the tsunami comes, you're going to drink water exactly like the people outside Noah's Ark.